we going to talk about? I didn't even ask you. Do you like that?
Yeah, let's go with it.
Sounds good.
All right, so welcome to Tape Noise Podcast, a Muscle Shoals Storyteller series. I'm here with April Howton, owner of Studio 23. It's Arts Collective in downtown Florence. Tell us about it.
Wow. Where do I even start? Good night. So, honestly, it was a hobby that turned into what it is today. It truly was just a hobby. And it just started because I really needed to get my kitchen table back so my family could actually eat on it again. But the goal was to have this great, huge artisan collective hub that people that aren't from the Awesome Shoals area could come together and get great local made, handmade, just local art. I mean, we're huge in the music, obviously, but art is huge in the Shoals, and it's just something that wasn't touched on. So a friend of mine, October this year will be 6 years.
Wow. I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yes, it is crazy long. Well, we never thought we would get to where we are today. That wasn't even a dream. We just wanted our kitchen tables back, honestly. So we had done some shows, did really well with our shows, like doing craft venue shows kind of thing. And I was just really tired of dragging stuff to shows. So I said, we just need our own studio, just out of the blue. Well, 6 weeks later, we had keys to our first studio, 900 square foot little studio over on Pine Street in Florence. We opened 2 Saturdays a month. That was it. We just had fun. It was just our art, just the two of us. Quickly.
So we, not to cut you off, but we, who is we?
Donna
I know
Gray.
who it is, but.
Yes, Donna Gray was just a great friend, went to church together, hung out. Our kids were friends. So she did small craft and art things, and I had big stuff. I built furniture and redid furniture and repainted. So her stuff looked really great on my stuff. So we would do shows together because it complemented each other. So we thought, hey, if that works and we do really good at shows, we were always selling out. Let's not have to move everything and just have a studio where people come to us.
Right.
So that is where Studio 23 was born. 6 weeks later, we found this little 900 square foot commercialized little house that used to be a house, but was now commercialized for business. And we opened it. We named it. We wanted studio because we wanted like art and music to like combined in there. And 23 actually came from Psalm 23, came from the Bible, believe it or not. A lot of people think, oh, y'all love Michael Jordan. And I was like, what? But apparently that's his jersey number. I didn't know that.
That's also LeBron James' jersey number, I think.
Well, there you go.
I'm just like, I'm a pro Michael Jordan guy.
Yeah. I didn't name it after a famous basketball player, that's for sure. But, whatever. To each his own.
Whatever.
To each his own. So anyway, we opened it up after 4 months. Like I said, 2 Saturdays a month. People had really found us. We were getting in with other interior designers. We were doing custom orders, and we were out of room big time. So we were like, should we try to go up bigger? So at that time, we had another friend who was just an acquaintance looking for a place to sell her local photography and mixed media. And we're like, hey, that's something we don't do. Let's put it together. So the three of us, that would be Donna, myself, and now Trina Ross, we came together and we found this cool little place in North Florence. It's a part they call 7 Points, because at one point there actually used to be 7 roads that emerged all in this one circle.
Yeah, I never could figure that out.
There's only 6 now. Well, it's because we're not old enough. But back in the 1915s, 1920, there was actually 7 roads.
Okay.
So that's
Makes sense now.
Yeah, because now I'm like 7 points. There's only 6, but
It's
that
like
makes
every
sense.
town has a 5 or a 7 points,
Exactly.
too.
It's awful, though. Needs a turnabout or something. But so we found this great little really old building on the corner of 7 Points. And we moved over there. It was about 2,900 square feet. And for 2 years, it was just the three of us and our artwork. We opened up Wednesdays through Saturdays. So we added more days. We thought we were big stuff. And then we had the opportunity to knock down a wall and to add another 2,000 square feet. And we're like, well, we're growing. Maybe this will be really good. So we knocked that down. And the next thing we know we've got people, artisans going, can I put my stuff in here? And we'd never thought about that because it was just literally for us to do our work, do our orders.
Right.
And now we've got artists coming in going, we love this place. Can I put my stuff here? We're like, So after that we were at that location for 3 years and we were literally bulging at the seams, and we had a list of people that wanted their stuff in, which we were so grateful for. So we took this like massive leap of faith, and we found an old warehouse in downtown Florence. So we went, when we knocked through the walls the last time, that was another 2,000 square feet. So we had right at like 5,100 square feet. So then we found this 20,000 square foot warehouse, and we're like,
That's full.
that wasn't even our plan. Our plan was, if we could have like 45 to 50 local artists in here, that'll be awesome by the end of our first year.
How many do you have?
We have 83.
Wow.
Yeah, we bypassed our 50 mark within 2 months of being open.
Yeah, but you have painters, T-shirt, people, office spaces.
Yeah, we've got artisans
popsicles.
I know, now we got popsicles. We've got artisans in there that actually have studios inside of the studio. So we've got pottery, potters that actually sit there and do all their pottery inside the studio. So yeah, we've got potters, we've got leather workers, woodworkers, painters, driftwood, pin turners. It's
really cool.
Crazy. And the stories just blow your mind.
The main reason I wanted to interview you for is, one, we've known each other for years, and it's just been really cool to see how this thing has organically progressed from an outsider's perspective. Two, I think it's the only art collective in the Shoals area. You go to a bigger city like Nashville, Atlanta, LA, they're all over the place. It's a common thing. And what I think is beautiful about it is you guys brought something that people that live in big cities love about big cities to a small town community, and also gave a platform for all of these different creative people that they can showcase what it is they do. And it really just goes to show how eclectic the Shoals truly is.
Yes. Well, and I'm glad to hear that from an outside perspective, honestly and truly, because I'll tell you, we went to some of these bigger cities before we just jumped into we just jumped feet first and hold on for dear life. But we did go visit some larger cities. And the difference we saw was they had artisan collectives, but they were personal studios. So they were lock and key. So that meant if I saw something through someone's studio and I wanted to buy it, but they're not there, I can't get it because it's a lock and key studio.
Right.
So that's the difference with us is I literally went to one and I saw a painting through a window and I had cash in my pocket. I said, if that is this much of what I've got in my pocket or under, it's going home with me. It was huge. It was a beautiful painting. Well, the studio was locked. There was no number on the door. There was no business cards. There's no way I even knew whose studio it was.
Right.
And
you lose sales that way.
It broke my heart because I was like, I want that so bad. Exactly. And I'm not going to drive 4 hours back to just find that painting again.
Right.
So that was really a turning point for us going, okay, we've got to have something where these artisans that still have 9-to-5 jobs, their art can still sell and they don't have to be there. So
right. Or maybe they don't have a 9-to-5 job, but maybe they're out of town.
Exactly.
And they're out doing a thing at festivals or wherever.
And I will say that probably 70 to 75% of our artisans do have other jobs. So for us to be their brick and mortar, it's like a dream come true because they want to quit their jobs. Not saying they don't love them, but like they would love to do their art full time, but just can't right now. So it's so nice for them to be able to say, hey, go down to Studio 23. My booth is da-da-da. And people come in and go, hey, I'm looking for such and such. We're like, come on, we're going to take you right to it. And we're really personal down there. And I mean, we know someone could bring something up and whether it has a tag on or not, I know whose art that is, and that's a big difference is we know our artisans to a T.
Well, and I think that's really cool that the community is getting to know those artisans as well. And it's a community.
Yes,
and I think that's one of the coolest things. Like you see those type of collectives, I keep using that word, but that's the best way I can think to describe it.
Well, it's kind of hard to describe because there's not tons of us like that. There really isn't.
Well, you're the only one in this town. But if you go to, let's say, LA is a perfect example, I think it's an attempt at creating a community in such a large mass of millions of people. So places like Nashville, LA, New York, and your bigger cities have kind of pockets.
Right.
There's not really much of a population here to have a need for pockets.
Right. Yeah.
But it's an attempt at having a community and a core group of people. You guys, in my opinion, filled a need that the community here didn't know they even needed.
I like that opinion.
It's like they didn't know that it was missing until it's there.
Well, and that's why I say that wasn't our vision. Our vision wasn't to open a 20,000 square foot studio with 80 artists. That was not our vision. Our vision it kept growing as more people found us and more people had needs. We kept going, well, how can we meet their needs?
Well, also, you guys are full now. So,
yes.
I mean,
we have a waiting list again.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, for any business for that matter.
Absolutely.
But do you guys see expanding or moving to another location, or do you even think that it would be just too much to handle, or not even really thinking about
what's
that?
What's really crazy is in the past couple of weeks, we have had 3 different attempts to contact us about franchising, and it makes us laugh because we're 3 moms.
Because
we don't know what we're doing half the time, but it's awesome that people see something that we're doing that they go, I need this here, and we're like, really? So, and I think because it's truly one of those things, like we took our passion to create and to have fun, and we turned it into a business, but it wasn't, that was not we had no business plan. That's what's cool is, you go into something, you go, here's my ultimate goal.
Right.
Where our ultimate goal was like, let's have a cool place where we can create. And then all these other things started, we're like, oh, okay. Now we've got this. Now we've got this. So when I say like we didn't have this massive vision, we didn't. We were fine and open to it growing like it did, but we had no idea it would become what it became, which just makes it even better because it just exceeds anything we thought about.
So it truly did happen organically.
There is 100% organically. My marketing fund. So my marketing fund, which this was the first year I ever had one, for 5 years was $0. It was called social media and word of mouth. That was it. Never took an ad, never.
That's great.
Nothing. So that's pretty organic.
So expound a little bit on that, because one of the reasons why I wanted to interview you is because you're not, you've taken on learning the ukulele, but you're not necessarily in the music community here in the Shoals.
Right.
But you are the owner of an arts collective, which is all its own little community. Everybody knows everybody. And artists are artists, no matter what kind of art they create, I guess. It's one of those things like if you mow grass or if you own a recording studio or you cut hair, you're in the service industry.
Right.
So any business, what makes a business fail or succeed, to me, there's a lot of overlap and crossover. Mm-hmm. I feel like that stuff can connect and maybe help people. You've also done the Young Living stuff, and you did the doula.
Yes.
So explain for people that don't know what a doula is.
Oh, man.
I didn't know what it am I even pronouncing that correctly?
My problem is I turn all my passions into a business on accident. That's usually what happens with me. But I was a doula and a midwife assistant for 13 years. So literally I go in and I support moms and families with natural childbirth. And I mean, you're their emotional and their physical support, not a medical support, but emotional and physical support. And that is all the way from being their cheerleader to being quiet and holding their hand. There's a lot of things mixed in there. So.
Well, when we were going to have our first child, Ellery, Haley came to me and said, hey, I think I want to get a doula. And I'm like, what is a doula? I've never heard this word before. And part of me is like really skeptical at that point in my life about things. But I was like, you know what? I'm open to this.
Right.
Let's check it out, see what it's about. Let's talk with some people. After experiencing that from a father-husband perspective, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Because that was a person who could communicate with the nursing staff on my behalf.
Right.
I saw where it was a really good, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And
it's awesome.
Lost the skepticism about it completely.
Well, it's one of those things,
I didn't
sometimes
know what it was.
You do have to experience it sometimes to understand. You mentioned oil, same kind of thing. People go, oh, essential oils.
Oh, dude, I was so skeptical about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, you have to experience it and then go, oh, snap, that totally did work.
I used to, I used to have real bad migraines until I got my wisdom teeth out. But every once in a while, I'll have one just out of the blue, and that thieves oil, this is not really like a product placement for oil, but it's just my personal experience. I couldn't get a headache to go away. I'd taken a leave and, did all kinds of things to try to alleviate it, and nothing worked but one of the oils. Right. So I was like, oh, and it worked immediately, like within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
pretty awesome.
The headache wasn't completely gone away, but I was functional. Right. And I wasn't like, oh, light's killing me, sound, I can't stand anything.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that kind of ties into the studio though, because of the studio, we're able to have a place where people can present essential oils. People can present classes that they want. That's another cool thing. It's given the community a platform where instead of someone going, hey, come to my house, I want to show you about this.
Well, it was the MLM thing that really made me skeptical about it, because I'm just like, we've tried those a handful of times. and it's just this Ponzi pyramid scheme. That's not, though. Right. It's just the way the company chooses to do their business. Yeah. But the brick and mortar aspect, it's not like, hey, let me throw you a party and come to my house.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a good, safe, neutral, common place that people can go, I'm going to a business.
Yeah.
So, but,
Well, on that, are there other businesses that you possibly have in mind that you would like to do? Or are you even thinking about that at this point?
Oh, my stars. I'm holding on to my 7 kiddos.
Yeah. Where do you see 23 going in the next
That's
6 months, maybe?
Really great question. Well, I tell you, in the next 6 months, my goal is I've got about 15 more booths to build because I have a waiting list. So my goal is to get those built before the Christmas season, because Christmas season from September on, we're slammed, which is awesome because that's gifting season starts. It really starts August because that's school, so people come in for teacher gifts, and then September on, we are slammed. So my goal is to get about 15 more booths built so I can accommodate this waiting list that I've got.
So that would be, I'm trying to do math and I'm not working out.
Well, I've got, so I've that's got
80,
this.
What? 83? Is that what you said?
Well, we've got 81. So I think we have a new one that signed up Saturday when I went there.
So roughly 80.
Let's just say 80.
So you're looking at 95?
Yes.
People?
Yes.
Wow.
We will probably have over 100.
Space to do it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a whole back area that I'm going to be getting rid of stuff so I can build those booths there. So I've got the space. It's just something's occupying it right now, but I can get all that moved. And so I've got this, now it's just getting all that moved and then doing it. So that is my goal in the next 6 months.
Sweet.
And like I said, September on, we're slammed, which is just awesome, but it's gifting. So, September through literally January, where, it's game on Christmas time. It's like, whoo. So.
You'll get a kick out of this. The slide that you guys put in, the tube slide.
Yeah, that's my slide.
That's awesome.
That's why I put that in, right?
That's your slide?
Okay, so all these moms and dads will come in. They're like, oh, that was so smart to put in that tube slide for the kids. And I laugh. No. That was for me. Because here's my goal. You tell me one person that can go down a slide and not smile.
That's true. It's kind of like playing the ukulele.
Exactly.
I was joking with a buddy of mine the other day. I was like, we're going to start a metal band that's angry ukulele music.
I'm in. Put me in. Put me in, coach.
It's going to be, instead of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, be like Lurking Underneath the Rainbow in a minor key.
I did learn Metallica's One on the ukulele.
Oh, wow.
No
that
joke.
was the first song I learned on the guitar.
So there we go. Well, you can do it on it. And I was corrected. It's ukulele.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I was told that. I don't know whether or not. I'm from Florida. Who cares?
But seriously, there's certain things like that I think are beautiful, because I've never seen anybody not smiling going down a slide or playing a ukulele.
Yeah. And it's for adults. I mean, that's like people come in, because the studio, this was our saying, people come into the front doors and we go, welcome. Can we help you with anything? And the next question is, have you been here before? If they have not, I say, please know you're in a quarter of the studio. Once you're done looking through here, head through that door, and I point to the glass door, and go out to the warehouse. Right. There's a lot more. And I need a camera at that warehouse door, because when people go through that glass door and enter the warehouse, because they see this bright yellow container, and they see this bright slide, they see our classroom, and they see our 20-foot tall ceilings, and they're like, oh my. It's like it's like I went from gift shop, fun shoppy, to creative space.
Yeah,
and
it's like knickknacks. Oh, this is kind of cool.
Yes,
but
it's like
wait, there's
they just
more.
Change, and they're like, and like you see all these these ladies that are like, prim and proper, like get giddy out there, and like they're just having a blast, and they're coming up and piling stuff, and and they're we don't do shopping baskets or bags for the reason that we want to be personal with people. So so we don't have shopping bags like, okay, let me get this in. We will go up, and if they're holding something, I'll say, would you like me to take it to the front for you?
So that's an intentional thing.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you very much. I read an Instagram post on that one time.
Okay, so let me go into that. Actually, that leads into some other questions I wanted to ask. What are some intentional things that you guys have done that you think have worked? Mm-hmm. Like that, I think that's great.
So definitely no shopping bags. That was definitely intentional.
That's not an expense for the business.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That
well, and it makes
things.
You be personal with people. It makes that, even though all of us who work there most of us are extroverts and have no problem.
Right. But still.
But it makes, because, if they're just walking around, hey, did you find everything? And it literally 8 times out of 10, they're like, I'm looking for this kind of coffee table. Well, I'm there every day. I'm like, let me show you where some are. So I can go show them, and then I can say, I'm April, just let me know if I can help. And I can walk away and let them. I never go over anyone's shoulders. That drives me crazy when people do it to me. But I want them to know we're readily available, and that's how we all act.
That's different.
But, definitely no shopping bags, because we want personal experience with people. We want to know, we want to be able to take stuff from them and make them a pile if they want to, and we always joke about that. Another thing is making the classroom right out front in the warehouse part. The warehouse is a concrete floor. It's got paint splatter all over it, because we want people to see that our classes are creative classes.
It's actually being used.
Oh, all the time. I spilled paint on the floor. Don't worry, added it to mine. Not a big deal. People come in there and are like, it's like they take a deep breath and go, okay, I could totally create in here. We've got a group of ladies that come almost every Thursday morning. They bring their coffee. They've bought a couple things from us through the years, but could care less if they did or didn't. But they come and then literally walk around and just see what new people are here, get inspired. And I mean, they're just and I love it because they've just found a safe, inspiring place for them.
That's awesome.
It's just cool.
Yeah. Also, on the paint splatter on the floor thing, not really worrying so much about that. I think that's great. Being intentional with your workspace, the classroom, not being super pristine, and just allowing paint to be on the floor where people could feel creative and free to create.
Think about
not
it this
necessarily
way.
feel like it's, I've got to be clean.
Think about the grandma or your aunt's house that you weren't allowed to go in that one
room.
That one room, because it still had plastic on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
It was white couches, plastic on that was only for visitors. But you were not, the carpet was pristine. It all was vacuumed the correct way. That was the room you weren't allowed to go in.
Right.
Yeah, even when visitors still came, we still weren't allowed to go in there.
Right.
But
exactly.
That's how I've walked into stores where I felt that way. I've walked into studios. I've walked into galleries where I felt that way. And I literally thought, don't touch anything, hands by your side. I mean, I'm a mom of 7. How many times? I mean, I've got 5 of my kids sitting behind me right now, which were being so good. Thank you, by the way. But I mean, there's many times where I'm like, don't touch, hands by your side, don't touch, look with your eyes. I did not want that in our studio. We need that art to be interactive.
That's exactly part of my intention with what my studio setting is. I've been in plenty of recording studios where it's tile floors.
Right.
The lights are really bright.
Right.
You feel like you're in a dentist office or something. Yes. It just feels too clinical.
Yes.
And like I can't touch anything.
Right.
So I feel restricted. And I hate that feeling.
Yes.
And I've had artists and bands have communicated that back to me. They're like, dude, can we go somewhere else?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we're in this really fancy place. And they're like, I don't care. I don't feel comfortable.
Right.
So I think that's great because that definitely crosses over into other businesses.
Right.
Is if people don't feel comfortable, they're going to just kind of withdraw within themselves. They're not going to ask you.
They're definitely not going to come back.
No, they're not going to come back.
Not going to come back.
They're not going to ask you about this piece of art that they might like because they may not feel like they can approach you because it's more like a museum than a store or a creative space.
Talking about being intentional, asking about a piece of art, one thing that's very intentional is we ask our artists to put their contact information in their booth. Like put it out there, put your cards, whatever you want to do. Because number one, people want to know the story. Because there's a lot of really amazing artists that have some crazy, amazing stories behind them, as to why they got into art or how that type of art started. And people love to know, I mean, even if it's buying a blanket and you're going, oh, wow, this is going to help clothe 20 kids in Africa. That's awesome. You feel better about your purchase. You just do, whether you know what I'm saying? But the cool thing is that we see artists get these custom orders. Someone walks up and goes, I love this painting, but I'm looking for one with these colors. Can they do a 5x5 painting with these colors? Absolutely. Here's their card, contact them. And how we work it is if they get a custom order because someone saw their stuff in the studio, awesome, blessing for them. We're not like, oh, that was from us. You got that from us.
Right.
We don't play that.
Yeah.
No, that's yours. That just blesses you. Keep paying your rent. We're happy. I mean, we're not managers. I mean, we're artists too. People, look at us and go, oh, it's doing so well. And I'm like, you don't understand. I make my check when my art sells. That's how I make my check. We're there because we want to be there. We're not there getting to, profit anything. We're there because we love to be there.
What is a story that you feel like just really touched you? I mean, I didn't know there was a way to buy blankets and
Yeah.
clothe people
You
in
need
Africa.
to come. You need to come more.
Yeah, I do.
Telling you. So I'll
That's
tell you,
awesome.
there is one thing. We have got, and I won't name names, but we have an artist and they have Parkinson's and they shake a lot. It just is what it is, but they're a great artist on the stuff they do. But when that artist comes in to redo their booth, and I'll go over and help them, and they start talking about their art and their work, and they start putting things up, you can look at their hands and they are completely still. There's no shaking. There's no jitters. There's no problem standing up straight. All you have to do is get them to start talking about their art, and they are complete calm.
That's amazing.
Therapy. And it's one of those things, like, until you see it sometimes, it's like, and honestly, it was probably 3 times before I put it together. And I literally asked them last time, I said, do you notice that when you talk about your art? And they said, yeah, I don't shake. And I'm like, it's your therapy. They're like, it's kept me alive. And so, like, for me to know that that little $45 booth is literally therapy for this person, it's worth it. You know, because there's many
That's
times
cheaper
I'm like,
than a therapist, that's for sure.
Yeah, truly.
I mean,
but
really.
you know, and it was literally, because you have those days, just like any job, where you're like, what am I doing? I mean, you know, I've got 7 kids. Should I be doing this? Should I not? But then you hear the stories like that. And then you hear the stories like one of my sons, Liam, he is 9, and he tells me about how he's going to have a Studio 24 right next to my Studio 23 when he grows up.
All right. That's
and
cool.
then, you know, and I see my kids that tell their friends about the studio. Because, you know, not that I mean, like, I guess as a parent, I do care. But, you know, you don't want to be that massive embarrassment to your kids. But I watch them talk about the studio and watch.
That's awesome.
And like they tell people, and I look at my teenagers now, and I'll look over there, and there's 20 of my kids, my teenagers, their teenage friends, and they're all chilling and hanging at the studio. And so I'm like, okay, somehow we've created an environment that all the way from 3-year-olds that will go down my slide, 18-month-olds, all the way up to our oldest artist is 92, and her friends come and see her stuff. Somehow we created a space that hits every age genre there is. I don't know how.
Amazing.
That was nothing but the Lord, but somehow it does. And people, you know, on Facebook, I laugh because Facebook says, okay, what age range are you trying to go for boosting this ad?
Right.
And I laugh because I'm like, okay, my youngest artist is 10 and my oldest artist is 92. I don't know what I'm trying to hit. I'm just trying to hit living, breathing people. That's all I know.
The thing that really strikes me with that is if you follow a lot of people's advice, it may be great advice for them or someone else, but niching down to the point that you only focus on this certain age group or
Right.
whatever demographic, whatever that may be perfect for certain types of businesses or for that individual. But
Right.
that's what I find so unique about Studio 23 and what you guys do is it truly is just it's its own thing.
It's hard to
it's not
describe
really
what it
a
is.
rule that fits it, which I think is awesome.
Right. Edit a whole bunch.
Okay, so we just had John Bloomer, a good buddy of mine, and Howell Sledge, Percy Sledge's son, stopped by
That's
the
awesome.
studio. So
So
you never
cool.
know what's going to happen in this
Awesome.
place. I forgot where we were, but that was an awesome moment.
That really was. So I'm not sure.
What are some things that have maybe not worked out business-wise? If you're willing to open up about that, have you had anything that's just like, man, I think this is an awesome idea, and it just turned out not to be?
You mean as far as the studio goes, or just my life?
In general terms. And the reason I ask that is because usually when people are massively successful at something, you don't see the behind the scenes
Right.
stuff.
Okay.
You
I
don't
see what
see
you're
the
saying.
struggle. You don't see the hustle.
Right.
You know, I think, was it Stephen King or somebody like that said, with 10 years of hard work, you too can become an overnight success or something like that? I don't
Well, I
remember
tell
if
you,
I'm
here's
quoting
the
that right.
difference. And I say this all the time because it was what I was taught all growing up. My dad saying, and this was before the cartoon movie Robots came out, my dad saying was always, see a need, fill a need. That was literally what I grew up always saying. And when I say that every business venture, everything I've done, I've watched what I love watching people. I'm that person that loves to go to the mall and sit on the bench and watch people. I
Yeah, right.
adore. My granddad used to do it, and I don't know if you can inherit that, but I love doing it. But I literally sit there and I go, okay, I see the needs not being met. I listen. And then I go, now how can I meet this? So for instance, when it came to, okay, do we go to a larger studio or not? I looked at the list of people asking us. I even did like a little friendly Facebook poll, like, hey, if we had somewhere like this, what would you think? And just seeing what people's reaction was. And then I take it and I go, okay, realistically, numbers wise, does this work to go larger? To go from a 5,100 square foot studio to a 20,000 square foot studio, it's a lot different. There's a lot different tax brackets. You're in a different
utility
thing now.
Bill.
Exactly. Utility bill. We're in a different thing. So it's like, okay, if I do this, then what do I need to make this work financially that doesn't hurt my family, that does, I just kind of look at it. And then it was like, once we had this space, it was like, okay. And honestly and truly, I'll be, if I can put faith into this, it's just been the Lord the whole entire time. Like when I say moving with such peace, it wasn't chaos.
Really?
There has
That's
never that. And it's you can ask both my business partners with this, because we were so at peace with moving. We almost questioned it because we're like, another
this
thing
seems too easy, too good to be true, kind of thing.
When I say where I'm located, so many people have looked at that building. So many people have said, oh yeah, I looked at that building. Oh yeah, I looked at that building. And there was always something. There was either fire marshal stopped them because they needed a $100,000 sprinkler system. Their business license didn't come through. There's always some reason someone wasn't able to take that building. It sat empty, I think, 7 years, maybe not. Don't quote me on that one. But quite a while. And then the owner came in and cleaned everything. And because it was a tile factory with hydraulic systems in the floor, there was oil and stuff everywhere. Right. But, cleaned it all up. And then, had tons of people look at it. Their gym had looked at it, wanted to open like a CrossFit gym in it. But something stopped them there was something. So when it came to me, I was already an established business, and all I was doing was moving that business to a new point. So when Fire Marshal and all them started coming, they already knew me. They've checked me out for 4 years already. So I'm like, I'm just taking that, moving it there. And they were like, oh, okay, great. So, but it was almost crazy because all these roadblocks that everyone else was coming into, never hit us.
That's amazing.
I doubled back. So I was like, okay, I don't need a $100,000 sprinkler system, correct? And they're like, no, I mean, your existing business, you don't have this. You're not a furniture shop. You don't have the, we went through, I was like, okay, it was just crazy how it all just worked out. And when I say it was just, we said yes to that building the end of February. We closed our studio in North Florence April 16th, and we opened that studio downtown May 15th. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah. We did not start putting items and such because we had new insulation done in the warehouse before we got in there. We had walls painted. We had new AC units put in, fans put up, all of that got done before we ever moved anything into the studio. So we moved everything into that current studio and opened it within 3 weeks of doing it.
Wow, that's unheard of, especially that type of a space. It's really big.
Well, I mean, in the stuff, we bought storage containers. We bought steel, shipping containers is what most people see them. We bought shipping containers.
That's really cool too.
I mean, you've seen them. We bought the shipping containers. We bought them from Memphis. We had them brought down here, and then we paid a wrecker service to bring them to the studio for us. And then one of our girls' dads, he was like, it's cheaper for me to just buy a forklift than rent one. So he bought a forklift and moved them all around himself. One of our own artisans that are in the studio is a welder. So he cut all the doors and windows out of it it was just, we use our people.
Everything literally fell into place.
Literally. We just use our people,
it's awesome. Well, this may be too personal, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to. I can edit it out. But did you guys go into it debt-free, or did you guys acquire any debt through loans, or what was your thinking process in that?
We took out it's a construction loan because we had to put in the AC units and insulation and such like that. So we took out a construction loan, but we did not even use the full amount, which is awesome, which is great for us. So when we started the studio, we had $1,100. That was it. Donna put in $600. I had $500. That was all we started the studio with. So we do have our construction loan, which will, Lord willing, be gone in the next year. We should have all that gone. But it was because if we didn't, we were going to have to wait for the opening to happen. And we didn't want to wait because, we had artisans that were trying to get in and we're like, okay, if we do wait and we save up for this, like we're not going to be able to open till like November. And it was like, So that was the first time we ever had done anything like that. But
so when you initially opened the business, there was no debt?
Nothing.
Okay, that's impressive.
Nothing. We had $1,100.
Wow.
That was it.
That's really impressive, and I find that interesting. But you basically decided amongst conversation with everyone that, okay, now's the time. We have to pull the trigger.
Right.
If we're going to do this, we have to take these steps.
Right.
Or else it's just going to postpone.
Well, and we had we've had investors talk to us. People wanted to invest in us. And again, we kind of looked at that. But at the same time,
that can
we're
be
like,
a scary thing.
It can be. And being that, and I'll be honest with you.
But it can be.
We've got Donna Gray, who has a nursing background. We've got Trina, who's got a teaching background. And I didn't finish college. My business classes were probably, you could fit them all on one little hand, that were just, most of them are because I took a $9.99 class off of an Instagram course that some 16-year-old taught because he knows social media really great. I mean,
that's awesome.
We don't have that background. People think, what's your background? And I'm like, it's trial and error. So when I truly say, because at first when we thought about doing it, people said you need this much for a startup and you need your business plan written. It's this much to write a business plan, And I'm like, I'm good.
Well, that's an old business model that works for some businesses,
exactly.
but not a lot.
Right.
And I was actually talking with a lady who works with one of the local universities. She works with career services. Mm-hmm. And she was talking with me about different businesses and how things change so rapidly now. And I made the point, I was like, well, think about how quickly Instagram has changed within 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a few years ago, we didn't have Facebook Live. That's a game changer for so many people. I know it has been for you. Mm-hmm. It's been for me as well. I think I'm 3 or 4 classes away from getting a business associate's. It's not knocking that, but why? I've already got 3 degrees.
Well,
business, I think it might help me get a loan, but I would have to acquire a loan to get that. Right. And so it would just be going in more debt for me. It just doesn't make sense. And marketing, by the time it gets written in a textbook and edited and approved by the board of the college, it's old.
Well, and just looking at social media, let's just take Facebook. They do what we do. They see a need and they fill a need. They saw a need that people were going to these other apps, Periscope and things like that, and doing live videos. And people
I forgot about Periscope.
Yeah, Periscope's like almost gone now.
I completely forgot about it.
Where do you think Facebook Live got the idea?
I know, right?
But they
that
saw
was
the
cool
need.
For a minute.
But they saw the need, so they filled the need. They went, hey, wait a minute. I see what you're doing there. I can put this on this. Same thing what they did with Facebook story now. They saw Insta story happening. They saw the Instagram stories and went, hey, a minute, let me make a Facebook story.
Right.
Then they got really smart and said, let's link them together.
Exactly.
So
Instead of being enemies, work together.
They are seeing a need. Yeah. They fill the need.
How do you feel like that has positively impacted your business, the use of social media?
Oh.
It obviously
absolutely.
has, but what are some examples of how it has?
So here's the see a need, fill a need. Here's my plug. I hope this is okay. So Handy Week is coming up, right? So because we don't have like this massive budget or anything, we literally have to think about what we do and what we, apply for and things like that. Well, we've got this great venue that classes are great with. We have 3 bay, huge bay doors that open up. And where we are, everything is closed by 5. So parking is never a problem. We have huge parking anyway, but Social Security, IRS are gone at 5 o'clock. So we have all the street parking and everything we want.
That's an amazing thing downtown Florence because there's never any parking a block over.
It's perfect. So we, that is not a problem. Well, we've had the calls of local bands going, hey, I can't get in on Handy Week anywhere. Could I possibly come to the studio? And so I listened to about 3 messages and I went, ding, 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 see a need, fill a need. So I put it out there. I said, I tagged you too, Grant, and I said, hey, look, I've got a space. I want you to use it. So what I've done is now because Handy Week is awesome, but sometimes if you're not a big name, you're not going to get a gig somewhere.
Well, I used to work for the festival.
Me and
Haley both did.
Awesome.
And it's one of those things where, like Riccatoni's, for instance, amazing Italian restaurant downtown, only does music during Handy Festival. Right. And he always wants the same artists.
Right. And that's okay because that's totally
just his thing.
But, you've got some other great, amazing artists that just can't get a break to get in anywhere.
Right.
And so I was like,
it's hard.
I have got a venue. it's open. It's awesome. Let me open it. So social media wise, I said, tag a band who's looking to play somewhere. And I can't even tell you how many tags and messages I have. But right now,
that's awesome.
We've got bands booked all through Handy Week. We've got bands from Fridays and Saturday nights from now on.
I'll have to come down there when I can.
And I'm stoked about it because some of them are one-man jam bands. And then some of them are full-on bands that are like, hey, can I bring my own lights? I'm like, I guess so. Now, do I have a band fund? I don't. And I told them that. I'm like, I don't right now, but we'll pass the tip hat around, 100% yours. You can bring your own CDs, T-shirts, whatever you want to sell, bring concessions. I don't care. I've got popsicles. But I'm giving you a venue to display your music.
Well, and that's awesome because there needs to be more of that in this town. I talk with people from out of town that want to come here to record, and there's a band in particular that's a Rolling Stones tribute band that is wanting me to record them at 3614, the original Muscle Shoals sound. Mm-hmm. They're wanting to do a Rolling Stones thing. It's around his birthday, and he's wanting to make it this big deal. But he's also wanting to play a show or two to kind of offset some costs. So that may be a perfect venue for them.
Bring them on.
And it would be a great thing. I mean, they've got horn section and the whole deal. And I think one of the guys in the band used to play with Gene Simmons, or maybe he still does. I don't know.
That's cool, yeah.
But I'm trying to make this happen. Right. And that's going to be part of the deal of making it happen.
And that's where I am. I'm trying to get people to see, because all that does is that brings people to those 80 plus artisans. That shows their work off. People get to see the venue more. That helps these bands out that can't find a place. It's like, it's a community going all the way back to the beginning. It's a community and it's helping each other. And it's awesome. I feel really honored and privileged that I can do that, and social media wise, had I not had the social media, I wouldn't have been able to find all these bands. But social media rocks.
If you go back 5 years, or maybe not even that much, putting an ad in a newspaper, putting an ad in a magazine or on television or a radio, those have their place still.
Right.
But if you want to have a broader reach and a more personal reach, social media is excellent for that. Yes, it has its problems. Everything does. But I've talked with dozens of people who have tried advertising their businesses in dozens of other ways to yield zero results. And they've spent hundreds and maybe thousands of dollars. When in the case of like a recording studio, that means maybe some more microphones.
Right.
Maybe that means for your business, maybe that means...
It's electricity bill.
Yeah, that's anything.
Right.
It offsets a cost, but it's using your resources much better. And I had a real wake-up call in Nashville. I was talking with a guy probably about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, and he said, if you're wanting to be in any type of entertainment business or own any business whatsoever, and you're not utilizing social media, he said, I'm not talking paying for ads or any of that, but he said, if you don't have any social media presence that is free marketing, you're in the wrong business.
Yep.
You should do something else, because if you're not willing to utilize a free resource that reaches potentially millions of people, then what are you doing?
Absolutely. Last week, you saw I posted a small 1-minute video of my son and I, me playing the ukulele, and him singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. 1 minute. You just fun, just cool, just whatever. That's been seen like over 4,000 times. And I'm like, what? And shares. And I'm like, really?
Well,
but people are just looking
amazing.
For like, social media is not all bad, and it can be used for good.
Well,
and that's,
to me, it's got this negative rap, and that's more of a reason to put positive out there.
Right.
To kind of counter a lot of the negativity. Something else I want to talk about, kind of getting away from that. How do you find yourself being able to balance so many things? I mean, having 7 kids, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And I've personally struggled with that myself, with having kids and a side hustle, trying to build a brand. And it's a lot of time that you have to invest. And even if you're not at the business, there's a mental space that it takes up.
Well, and I would love to say, because people ask me all the time, how do you? And I would love to say I have a great answer. I don't know, because I really don't know if I am. I just know we're standing and they're all alive, so I'm doing good there. But for me, thankfully, like all 7, I feel, they might say no, but I feel like they embrace the studio. There's many days where you'll see 4 or 5 of them up there with me, and they're playing and doing their own thing while I'm working.
Back to what you said earlier about them being around with their friends, they see the possibility too.
Right.
That they can too do something. And there's so much of a victim mentality in our culture now that we can't do something because of limitations.
Right.
And I think that's great for kids to see that of their parents, especially to grow up with that. If you want to do something, go for it. It's a possibility.
Right.
It can happen. Not only that, but you guys have kind of given a voice to the community of that as well.
That's awesome.
Like
Thank
you're talking about your artists that may be paying X amount of dollars for a booth. That's a sense of joy for them and pride.
Right. The hardest thing, and you can take this from a musician standpoint, the hardest thing is putting your work out there. It's scary as all get
Absolutely.
out. What if someone doesn't like it? What if someone makes fun? What if someone doesn't like the sound? What if someone doesn't like the color? It is so. One of my things is having that buffer for people that are, for instance, we've got an artist, this is her 2nd month in there with us. I literally have dragged her for 6 months your stuff is amazing. It will sell. So I buy her stuff. I'm like, she's scared. Finally, I broke it to her and I said, here's the deal. You give me 1 month. Nothing sells out of your booth. I'll tear up your contract. I can do that. I'll tear your contract up. You're out of the contract. You give me 1 month. Of course, she's scared to death. Like, trust me. She comes in. I've been telling, she checks her stuff very regularly. The end of her very first month, because she signed a 6-month contract. That's how we did it. She doubled what her 6-month contract, being there 6 months, was going to cost.
Wow.
In 1 month.
Well, that just goes to show that sometimes people just need a push.
They do, and I do too. I mean, we all do.
Critics,
well, and that's why I want that to be a safe place for people to be okay,
right.
And we, that's another thing too, is we help each other all the time. Just like musicians going, hey dude, did that sound right or not? I mean, did that sound off? Was I a little off on that sharp? I mean, that's what, but
right.
As artisans, I'm like, I'll walk over and be like, Trina, I am stuck. Should I put what color on this? Oh, you should do da-da-da-da. That's what I need. Awesome.
Right.
We do that constantly
That's
to
awesome.
each other because it's just another set of eyes. But, and as far as the family, going back to that, I think for me we've made it our family. But yes, I own it. Yes, everything's in my name. But, if my kids want to have their birthday parties down there, they have their birthday parties. Ask them how many haven't not taken out the trash there, how many haven't swept. I mean, my oldest ones know how to work the cash register if need be,
Well, and see, they're learning stuff that they're not learning in school. They're learning how to actually go in the workplace.
Absolutely.
How to believe that something is possible if you want to go for it. That's not something you learn in a desk.
It's not.
In school. I mean,
not something I learned, that's for sure.
No, definitely not me, for sure. But, okay, so what's something that you would want to tell people about that may be coming up?
My goal is because we're booked the first 3 weeks of August already, but to have live music Friday and Saturday nights.
Cool.
We're open to 8 p.m. on the weekends on Fridays and Saturdays. So, because Frios is down there. So we're hoping, let's go ahead and have some live bands. And all this stuff is free. I mean, I'm not there to make covered charges it's free. And we just want to give outlets for people. So definitely our Facebook page, our events, we always try to keep updated so you can always check what's going on. But our next big thing will be November 17th. We'll have our 23 Days of Christmas. We did it last year.
Oh, cool.
We sold out.
I forgot about that.
It
that was cool.
Insane. I can say it here. It was insane.
That was really cool.
We sold out all 800 tickets. Then we had another 600 show up at the door.
Wow.
When I talk about we were blessed, it was like, wow. So we're like, we need more cash registers this time. I mean, it was
That's
awesome.
crazy.
So
That's great.
That'll come up November 17th. That'll be our next huge, big market. So, we, honestly, Grant, my whole thing with this music, this happened 2 weeks ago. This wasn't, I just sat there one day and I went, there's a need and I'm doing it. So it's not like we sit there and go, so next week there could be something else big that I come up with. I don't know. But I'm like, let's just use the space. Let's utilize it. It's for the Shoals. And I am excited too, because I do have some graphic artists. I don't want to call them graffiti artists because they are true awesome. But the outside, we're trying to bring the inside outside. So we're going to have some really cool interactive graffiti art on our building in about a month.
How are you clearing that with the city? Is that a thing you have to do?
Building. It's all good. It's
Awesome.
It's literally trying to be a walkthrough.
Awesome.
The Shoals Interact. I've got an 80-foot wall that I want.
That's going to be
You know how
cool.
people go to these cities and go to these angel wings and
yeah.
I'm going, okay, we're not having angel wings, but we're going to have something that is of the Shoals, of the city, and it's going to be interactive art. And all it's going to do is just bring awesome more stuff to the city. So
awesome.
The city loves us. Come on now.
That's awesome.
They love us.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great.
Well, thank you again,
Absolutely.
April.
Thank you.
So
Thank
Studio
you.
23, check it out. Instagram, Facebook.
Yes, Instagram, Studio 23S, and Facebook, it's Shoals Studio 23.
All right. So takeaway from today. See a need, fill a need.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
Thanks, guys, for listening. Thanks, April.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules, whether it be listening on your commute to and from work or school or wherever you are. We need a huge favor from you guys. Please go follow us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play. Leave us a rating and a review. Let us know if you have any good ideas for upcoming episodes. If there are any topics that you guys would like us to address, let us know. Thank you again for listening as always. This has been a Tape Noise podcast.